That is a perfect note on which to end. And I think...
On which to begin.
On which to begin. Well, I'll begin my answer, and as it should be, Dr. West will have the last word. All three questions brilliant, and the irony of it is, Lonnie and Dr. West, Professor Guarnier and Dr. West, when you listen to the questions, they actually go together anyway. They all three of them work together. Let me preface my answer by saying that since what we're ultimately trying to get to with all these questions, what we're trying to get to is the question at the end. Whatever the answer to the first two questions are, what really and ultimately matters is how we translate, how we get those answers, how we get that love and service, however we define it, to the people who need it most. Church, say amen. Amen. All right. Make sure we're on the same page. We're trying to get some love and service, however we answer these two first questions, to the everyday people who need to receive it most. Two answers in that regard. Number one, they don't have to read the Covenant with Black America, although they should be challenged to do so. They don't have to read Dr. West's text, and you are better than I am. If you're reading West with just a dictionary, I'm using a dictionary and a thesaurus and a whole reference library, so you're better than I am at Dorchester. That said, they don't have to read me, they don't have to read West, they don't have to read anybody in this room. If they can't read, because back in the day, our ancestors couldn't read. They couldn't read the text, but they could read the living epistle of our lives. They could read the living epistle of our lives. They read you every day. They read me every day. They read the example of every one of us in the community every day. So if they never ever learn how to read, Big Mama, my grandmother, Big Mama couldn't read, but she knew the truth when she saw it. And she knew there was a distinct difference between the truth and the lie. That's why no lie can live forever. Truth forever on the scaffold, wrong forever on the throne. Yet that scaffold sways the future, and behind the dim unknown standeth God in the shadows, keeping watch above his own. People read us every day. We have to then become living epistles. And so in humility, my answer to all three of the questions is this, a metaphor. I'm going to leave here in a few minutes, and in a few hours from now, I'm going to have to catch a plane back to Los Angeles. When I get on that plane, I'm going to hear what I think is the answer to all three questions. I'm going to hear the same thing you hear every time you get on a plane. They don't want you to be scared. Let's keep it real. Don't be scared. So they tell you, in the unlikely event of a sudden loss of air pressure, the oxygen mask will drop from the compartment above your head. What do they tell you to do? Take the mask and put it on yourself first before you assist the person next to you. What's your point, Tavis? You can't help nobody else unless you first help yourself. And the reason why we are blessed, whether they ever read or not, the reason why we are blessed to be where we are is because there are people whose lives depend on us. There are people who need to see the examples, the epistles that we are. That's how you get that to the streets. You get it to them by example. You get it to them by enlightenment. You get it to them by encouragement. You get it to them by empowerment. That's the way it always has been. It's the way it ought to be now. It's the way it's going to have to be. That those of us who are the most blessed among us, those of us in this room who are the most blessed among us, we are the answer to that problem. We are the answer to that query. What's wrong with our communities is that too many of us who make it get out. That's what's wrong with it. So we have to be the answer to that question. You can't help nobody else unless you first help yourself. This conversation then comes full circle. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? It ain't a sexy answer. It ain't what people want to deal with, but that's the only answer. For me, it is the ultimate answer. The only way we turn this mess around collectively in a macro sense is that individually in a micro sense, we all take responsibility for doing the best we can with what we have right where we are. There ain't no other way.